comes in, and a lot of these railway names. We take this conversation forward with Anil Rego from Right Horizons PMS, who is joining in now. Mr. Rego, good morning. Thank you for joining in. The flavor of the last couple of weeks has been these two railway PSUs and defense PSUs. They were the flavor until the mid of last year as well, until this very, very sharp correction that took these stocks down at least 50-60% from their peaks, and now they are heading back towards their peaks. Where are you positioning yourselves within this basket? And if you have any specific picks from this, if you could share those as well.
Yes, so firstly, I like to avoid sharing, stock picks more from a internal, compliance thing that we have taken. But definitely, I think if you see over the last couple of months, you found defense, especially, right? It was, on everybody's lips before that, and even when I was on my walks, my neighbors would come back and talk about them. So it really had gone into some great momentum. And in that period, I also believe that stocks which didn't deserve to go up also went up, right? Both on the defense and the PSU side. Okay, and so a correction I think was imminent, and that's I think what happened. When the run up is so high, then I think you will find that also the correction also is deeper than what is normal. So that sort of step things back. However, what is our view of the sectors, both the PSUs as well as the defense, especially? I think thanks to the Indo-Pak tensions between the two countries and what you would also call a war. Okay, you find that defense has also come back, into focus there. Definitely, I think both PSUs and say defense sectors have been down for a long period of time, and that long period of maybe even across a whole decade or more than that, right? So when you find certain sectors like these are down, you will find the cyclical nature of it also will bring them back at a certain point of time. So I think that is also there. One believes that when you find a correct a pullback from such a long correction, it lasts longer than what most people expect. So I believe that it will continue, but from here you have to be careful about which are the better of these stocks, because initially a lot of the junk also ran up. Now we have to come back and step back and as an investor start looking at what is the earnings growth, what is the order book, quarter on quarter, how some of these companies are doing, and then accordingly look at it. Yes, we may have at least one PSU stock, I mean, it's a defense stock, but again, we go for quality. I would think that you can search around and maybe one of the best quality names that you can go back and get into investing rather than getting on the ones on the.
Mr. Rego, sorry to cut you in, because we need to ask you a few more questions here. But what about these tariff-related sectors, right, that have been on the edge because of tariffs, no tariffs, pharma being one of them? You still don't know the quantum of tariffs that would be imposed on pharma imports from the Trump administration. You don't know what is the kind of impact that it would have on the sector as a whole. And considering the fact that pharma in general is such a wide basket in itself, where do you prefer within the pharma space, or do you even like the sector as a whole?
Yeah, so one of the things that we were slightly cautious, on sectors which could have been impacted and export-oriented sectors as well, more from uncertainty that's coming forward. At the same time, our view was that we, at least personally as a fund, we didn't expect a very large negative coming out of, high tariffs, because our view was it was a little bit of a posturing to be able to get, other countries to import more from the US. Okay, and I think that is one area that I thought, and you'll probably see that, is the key reason for it. The second is, yes, there will be some tariff, but I think it cannot be too high because, and I would believe somewhere around 10% is where I would think it'll end up, okay, for most countries, unless, he's trying to negotiate for something better, right? So and because a very high tariff also has an impact on inflation for the US, and when it has an impact on inflation for the US, okay, it's again a counter impact for themselves. So my view is that I'm not as apprehensive as some of the others, but yes, pharma is slightly uncertain, and it's important for the US as well because the price of drugs can go up. But I think there will be some impact. Again, we have to look at it. How is it versus other countries, right? In itself, higher tariffs may not be a bad thing, but let's say if you go back and see with respect to China, how is it relative, or some of the other countries, is where it is. So while there is some concern and one needs to be watchful of it, I definitely think that some of it will settle down maybe within a quarter or so.
All right, Mr. Rego, thank you so much. Paucity of time, so we'll take this conversation forward on another occasion. Thank you so much for sparing time and joining us today. That was Anil Rego there on Market Fundamentals. Take a short break.